Recognize the gentlelady from Florida, Ms. Castor, for 5 minutes to ask your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for calling this hearing, and thank you to all of the witnesses and all of the first responders who are there every single day to keep us safe and well. And for Mr. Wright, I'm sorry that I've learned a lot about your commitment to the Florida Public Radio Emergency Network and Beacon, but I've also learned today that before we came into the hearing room that you're the voice of Florida Gator football. You're the PA announcer, and I'm really sorry that Congressman Bilirakis and Congresswoman Kamek are not here to hear me say "Go Bulls," because that was an extraordinary event. I'm sure there was some emergency Gator signal sent up for that loss on Saturday.
Now, I clearly understood earlier how to turn my mic on and off,
Not you.
But thank you, Congresswoman. I appreciate your sentiment.
But here we are. We're about to come into the one-year anniversary of Hurricanes Helene and Milton, and in my neck of the woods in the Tampa Bay area, that was the worst catastrophe we've experienced in anyone's memories. During that time, after Helene, 1.3 million people lost power, and then Milton was right on its heels, where over 3.4 million Floridians lost power. And it's giving me some flashbacks, because what happened also was we couldn't get oil tankers in, so there was no fuel. We had police guarding gas stations, so people didn't have power, they didn't have gas, they didn't have internet. So what they relied on is just what you said, the over-the-air broadcast radio. And I remember very well digging out my old Walkman with batteries, and I could listen to all of the updates, the bridges that were open, the ones that were closed, food distribution, and that helped me as a public servant to get that important information out to my neighbors. So I'm so grateful for what has happened over time in building that network. It is not easy, but it really is a model. It can't, your phone, you're not going to be able to charge your phone in a catastrophe like that. So the satellite networks are important. Everyone has said we need redundant systems, but I found in the immediate aftermath of a catastrophe with no power and no internet, it is the public radio network. So what are the lessons for other communities? Because you've worked with our Florida Department of Emergency Management for years to develop that network. What are the lessons learned that you can share with the rest of the country on building those networks out?
Well, I think, one of the best lessons that we've learned in Florida is that we're better together than we are separate. And what I mean by that is that we have an infrastructure in place through the broadcast infrastructure with public stations around the entire nation. And so the Florida model that we have deployed into South Carolina as well through our partnership with South Carolina ETV and Public Radio, same exact model, very efficient. In fact, one of the recognitions that I'm most proud of is a Florida Tax Watch Award for productivity and efficiency.
Wait, they're a very, very, very conservative group in Florida.
I appreciate you recognizing that. That's why that award is center in my office, because it speaks volumes about the work that we're doing and the importance of that work. And I think that we are uniquely positioned at this moment in time to take advantage of that infrastructure, to reinvest in it, to ensure that when the next hurricane comes in or the next wildfire event happens, that communications infrastructure for the last mile is there, and then that we're utilizing innovative solutions like EFPRIN and Beacon to get those alerts out to the public when they need them most. Yes, enhanced 911, critically important, but the work from those agencies out to the public, that's just as important. That's another piece of the chain that we cannot forget.
It's all that coordination, because in a catastrophe and emergencies, they're locally managed, state coordinated, and federally supported, and it seems like what we're missing right now is the federal supportive piece of it, to take a hatchet to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting that puts those grants at risk for the infrastructure we need, the federal grants. not to mention all of the resiliency grants, all of the attacks on Federal Emergency Management Agency. FEMA needs reform, but it can't be eliminated. We would be, everyone would be in dire straits.
We have a proven model in public broadcasting. We've made the investments in the past. We need to continue making those. And I think it was Tip O'Neill who used to say that all politics is local, all alerting is local. And that's where the public broadcasters come into play.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now you're back.